Let's go back in time. We're heading to New Orleans, a city that's always been famous for its music, its culture, and, of course, its secrets. But between 1918 and 1919, a shadow fell over the city, a killer who'd become the stuff of legend.
For over a year, this phantom, really, terrorized everyone. He would slip into homes in the dead of night and then just vanish, leaving behind unimaginable horror. This is the story of the Axeman.
So here's a quick look at how it all went down. It starts in May 1918 with the first attack. By June, people are starting to see a terrifying pattern. Then, in March of 1919, things get really weird when a letter shows up at the local paper. And finally, late that same year, he just disappears. Let's break it all down. Now, to really get why this was so scary, you have to picture the city back then. It's 1918, World War I has just ended. New Orleans is buzzing, it's loud, it's full of life. You've got jazz pouring out of every club. And it's that very sense of energy and safety that made what happened next so absolutely shocking. It all began with Joseph and Catherine Maggio, local grocers. They were found by Joseph's brothers. But here's the thing that immediately baffled the police. How did the killer get in? There were no broken locks, no smashed windows. The only clue they found was a wooden panel by the back door that had been carefully chiseled out. This wasn't some frantic break-in. It was quiet. It was planned. Just over a month later, it happened again. This time to the Russo family. And with this second crime, the city's growing fear started to turn into a horrifying realization. This wasn't random violence. No, this was the work of one person with a very specific and very, very strange way of doing things. Okay, so let's look at the killer's signature moves, because they are chilling. He'd get into homes without breaking anything. He attacked families while they were asleep. He never stole a thing. But here's the detail that absolutely terrified people. He never brought his own weapon. He would find an axe, the family's own axe, inside their home and use that. And then another disturbing detail started to emerge. Almost all the victims were Italian-American grocers. It made everyone wonder, were these targeted hits, or was it something else entirely? So after a whole string of these attacks, with the entire city just paralyzed with fear, the case takes a turn that's straight out of a horror movie. The killer decided he wanted to talk. He sent a letter directly to the city's newspapers, and what it said, well, it would go down in history. I mean, just listen to the sheer nerve of this guy. He calls himself a spirit from the hottest hell. He taunts the police, saying they'll never catch him. And then he makes this bizarre offer, this strange kind of salvation. Play jazz music loud and clear, and I'll leave you alone. So what do? I mean, really, what would you do? The city had this incredible choice to make. Do you lock your doors and just ignore the ravings of a madman? Or do you do exactly what he says? Well, New Orleans made its choice. On the night of March 19th, the whole city just erupted in music. Every club, every dance hall, every private home was just filled with the sound of jazz, all in the hope of keeping this demon away. And the result? Zero. Not a single person was attacked that night. The Axeman, true to his word, stayed away. For one single evening, it seemed like the music had actually worked. The whole city could breathe again. But that relief, it wasn't going to last. Yeah, that night of jazz was just a temporary pause. The Axeman wasn't done. 3 more families were attacked in the months after. And each one was a brutal confirmation that the nightmare was far from over. He just kept going, using the same exact methods, as if that night of music had never even happened. The final known murder happened in October 1919. The victim was a man named Mike Pepitone. His wife actually woke up during the attack and saw a large, shadowy figure running from the room. That was the best description anyone ever got of him. And after that, nothing. The Axeman, this self-proclaimed spirit from hell, just vanished. So what happens when a killer like this just disappears off the face of the earth? You're left with this huge vacuum of facts, which gets filled by endless theories. For over 100 years now, people have been trying to answer the one big question. Who or what was the Axeman? So 4 main theories have really stuck around.
1. Was he a patient from a mental institution and the crimes just stopped because he was committed, or maybe he died? 2. Was this a mafia thing? Targeted hits made to look like random violence? 3. Was he just a roaming killer who, after terrorizing New Orleans, packed up and moved on to another city? And then, of course, there's the theory his own letter created. Was he something not of this world at all?
But here's the thing. After all the theories, all the police work, all the decades of research, the truth is pretty simple. The Axeman of New Orleans was never caught. His identity is still one of the biggest unsolved mysteries in American history. That case file, to this day, is officially open. And that leaves us with one final, pretty chilling thought. In a city where music and myth are basically woven together, the story of the Axeman lives on. It's this terrifying reminder of a time when a song was the only thing that might stand between you and a killer in the dark. It really makes you wonder, is he still out there somewhere, just waiting for the music to stop?